Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank studio and look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com tonight, or this morning, for the conversation. Also, the Visual Edge IT hotline is open at 806-771-0973. Well, 12 hours from now, the Red Raider basketball team will be getting ready to take the floor, and we'll take the air as we have conversation from United Supermarkets Arena with the Texas Tech men opening up the 24-25 portion of their season. They'll take on Bethune-Cookman tonight. Last night, the Lady Raiders took down Incarnate Word, Jamie, winning by 30, 78-48. So they get their season off to a start. There was rough spots at times last night. A lot of fouls by the Lady Raiders. They committed 31 fouls last night in the ball game. Turned it over more than what Coach Krista Gerlich would like. 20 turnovers in the ball game. But I think what we saw more than anything last night is what we've been talking about is depth of this team, athleticism at times. You played 11 players in the first quarter.
Yeah, you would think with so many new players that early on in the season, turnovers and just kind of chemistry, learning how everybody plays together and all that, will be a part of that. You'd like to think in the summer when you practice together and as you get ready for the season that you learn all those things, but it's really hard to do it until you're actually playing games. So I think some struggles like that with taking care of the basketball and just figuring out where everybody fits is probably expected early on. Their
best quarter was the second. They outscored Incarnate Word 26-8, and it just seemed like it flowed more in the second quarter. Third and fourth quarter was just struggling at times, just from the standpoint of the fouls and the stoppage of play and all those things that took place. Nobody fouled out of the game, which for the Lady Raiders, there was one foul out for Incarnate Word, as they had one player that get 5 and one that had 4, but Tech had a couple and 4 and several with 3 and bunch with 2, but everybody played. So, but Maya Pete, she was not expected to play. So you got all 14 that were suited up and ready to go into the ball game last night. High point scorer was Adley Blacklock last night, making her Lady Raider debut. She came out and got 14 in the first half of play. She was lighting it up from beyond the arc. All of her shots were from a distance last night. She took 10 of the Lady Raider 29 3-point attempts. They were 8 of 29 from beyond the arc. They'd like that to be a little bit better because that's 28%. Just some shots coming off the rim or things like that. And then there were some long shots just from the standpoint of nerves and adrenaline and all that kind of stuff. But they were playing against a zone defense. They really haven't been preparing for zone defenses. They've been kind of working more on man-to-man. These first few games are more about them than it is necessarily their opponent. Trying to get their offense set and all those kinds of things. So it could be a little clunky at times, but you could see where the newcomers are going to make big strides for you. So I'm excited about kind of where things are headed and what you have, and they'll be back in action on Thursday. They'll take on Houston Christian. Houston Christian tonight will take on TCU, and then they'll head to Lubbock and play the Lady Raiders, and we'll have that game for you at 5:30 on 100.7 The Score, and this tip is at 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, the men open tonight against Bethune-Cookman, Jamie, and man, I think there's a lot of anticipation for this basketball team going into this season.
It's, just each and every year now with college basketball, I think there's anticipation because you want to see who the new guys are. It's not usually going to be with the way things are right now. It's not going to be, hey, we've got 10 guys back and right. Here we go. No, I mean, you're always going to be upgrading your roster, whether it be the players leaving and upgrading their position somewhere else, or you saying, hey, maybe you should find a different spot to stand because we're going to bring somebody else in. So I think there's always anticipation anticipation with new teams each year, just because there's so many new faces, and you returned some key ones, no question about it. But you've got plenty of new ones as well that you've brought in, and you're paying big money to. So we're excited to see how they play.
That's right. You've brought them in, you've paid big money, and you have, it's true. It's fact.
Which comes with high expectations.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see how that's judged. These players that do receive a pretty good bounty, how that's handled as you're moving forward. Whether, as you say, hey, we think you should move over here to somebody else, or hey, we've got even more for you. So the guys that are coming back include Chance McMillan, Darion Williams, who was shooting after the Lady Raider game last night, Jack Francis, Emily Yalahu, Kerwin Walton, and Devin Cambridge. So I don't know how much Cambridge is going to play early on, but we'll see, because he's coming off of the knee injury, and then you got some guys that are coming in that, man, you have big expectations for, without question. So, and
I definitely am excited to see, or anxious to see Devin Cambridge. I just loved his game for the Red Raiders last season, and thought he was worth more than what you saw in the stat sheet. He's just a good leader and a physical guy who could play multiple positions for you. So I thought it was a big blow to lose him last year. So I'm excited to see him back, and he can give you that same kind of leadership and all those other things that he does, doing the dirty work and also getting you some points and boards and all that good stuff. Then I think that could be big.
So I hope there's a good crowd tonight. I mean, all the season tickets were sold. We still have, I guess, some single games seats that are available, and of course the students will make up a big part of that as well, in terms of just the energy and things like that. I'm pretty sure the same guy will probably perform at halftime as last night's halftime at the Lady Raider game. And I'm kind of a big halftime performance guy. Kind of. This guy did. They did.
That's kind of saying like I kind of like computer games.
Yeah. Wheel gymnastics. He had a giant wheel, and he did gymnastics inside that wheel. And apparently, this particular guy was the first guy from the United States to compete in the World Reel Gymnastics Championships. Okay? So, he's athletic. There's no question. It's kind of one of those deals where you and I were like, well, I think I could do that. Nope. There's no way.
Stop with the you and I part.
Well, I don't even think I could do it.
I'm certain that I couldn't.
There's no. He put himself in this thing, and then just the balancing act was just quite fascinating last night.
It's impressive, the kind of skills that people come up with, and
then get paid to do it.
Yeah, good for them.
And you wonder how long they can do it. It's not something he's going to do at age 60, I don't think, but hey, do it while you can, and make some money and travel the world. So we'll have hoops tonight at 6, play-by-play at 7 on Double T 97.3.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Thoughts, comments? Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that. The mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. We'll have the high school fan zone on the air for you tonight, Jamie. It's Monterey's turn tonight at the mic, and they'll play at Caprock in Amarillo against the Caprock Ball Club at Dick Bevins Stadium. That'll be on November the 7th. So today's the 5th, so that'll be Thursday. And we'll have that game for you on 93.7 The Eagle at 6:30. Plainsmen have won 4 straight. They're playoff bound. They have hopes still for a district championship. They need some help. At the very least, they need Tascosa to beat Amarillo High School, and then they could share. And there's still, I think, a possibility for them to win outright, although they need to have some point differentials come into play. It's complicated. They'll close out the season on Friday night with Lubbock High. That'll be the other team that'll be talking about their various sports, girls basketball, boys, and football. And it'll be Lubbock High taking on Coronado High School, and that'll be over at Lowry Field. Both those teams will finish up their season on Friday night. And so we'll have the Coronado broadcast for you at 6:45 on Friday night on 96.9 The Bull, and then that will finish things up there. And so that's, again, a 7 o'clock kickoff. As far as Lubbock High is concerned, they have lost 5 straight after winning 3 straight and having their best start since 2001. So as the competition has gotten stiffer, it has not gone their way at all. I mean, the score differentials have been pretty substantial. So that's unfortunate. As far as Coronado is concerned, they also have fallen on tough times. They have lost. They had a bye week last week, so they had a win over Caprock. But prior to that, they had 6 losses in a row. So they've lost 7 of their last 8. They lost at Amarillo last week, so they'll finish things up, like I said, with Lubbock High on Thursday night rather. There at Lowry Field. Okay, so the Red Raiders take on Colorado Buffaloes on Saturday. I don't think I've asked you for your confidence level yet for this game.
48.
Okay, 48. I was thinking you were going to be around 50. That would, if you'd asked me to guess, I would have guessed around 50%. So I think you're kind of right in that ballpark. I think the Red Raiders are Colorado's 3-point favorite coming into to this ball game. So you're going to see a really good ball club, and you're going to have to play as good, maybe if not better, than what you played against Iowa State.
I think I would say that I feel like Iowa State is a little bit better than Colorado. I would also feel like because you played on the road, that was the tougher of the 2 games. Mm-hmm. I don't think Colorado is as complete of a team as I thought Iowa State was, but I feel like their offense is more explosive than Iowa State's. I don't think there's any question there. But probably their defense is not quite as good. So it poses a different kind of a challenge for the Red Raiders. What really scares me about this game is their ability to throw the ball and have so many good receivers, and they're really good in the passing game. And your biggest struggles maybe on the defensive side have been defending the pass. So again, their strength, your weakness, that scares me. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we all love I say we all. I'll say, for the most part, I think people love rivalries, right, in sports.
Yeah, sure.
And love to kind of hate on the other team a little bit. And with this new Big 12, you're still kind of struggling, I think, by and large, to have a bunch of teams to hate, or you don't have that A&M hate or that Texas hate. You've got that maybe with TCU. Some may say, well, I don't really hate them, but and then you have that with Baylor.
I don't think there's any Red Raider fans that say that.
You
they don't hate TCU.
Do you think they all?
I think they all hate TCU.
Okay, but do you think that's the number one school that they hate right now?
TCU, Baylor, I would guess.
Column A, column B. Mm-hmm. Do you think that level of hate is the same as A&M or Texas?
No.
Okay, and then that's kind of really what.
But now that they're not in the same conference with you, I think more of it has been shifted towards them.
Yeah, and I think there's less paying of attention to
the Aggies
Texas
and the Longhorns,
yes, and
correct.
even Oklahoma as well. Do you wish that Coach McGuire had expressed that same hate towards the other teams or the rivalry? Because I don't know, I'd almost rather not hear about the buddy stuff with Sonny Dykes or Deion Sanders as opposed to I don't know, it kind of takes something out of it when calls Dion his good friend, or all this respect for Sonny Dykes and stuff like that. I get all that. I just would.
No, I appreciate Coach McGuire sounding professional and sounding mature and not sounding like a lunatic fan like the rest of us.
Okay, and there's probably a lot to be said for that.
I don't want my head coach to
be fired up about that.
Just to feel like I don't want him insulting opposing coaching staff.
And I understand that.
All that. You feel like you want him to handle himself in a certain way.
No, I get that. I get that. I just.
I would take this over the, hey, man, we're facing a Hall of Fame coach this week. Nobody gets them more fired up than what he does over there. You just got nothing but respect for what they do, and we can learn a lot from what they do over there.
Yeah, it's one thing to be respectful and complimentary. It's another thing to just be a flat out fraud and a liar. Okay, when you lie to people over and over again.
Okay,
it comes across as extremely non-genuine, and people are not stupid, so they see right through it, and they, for years and years and years, they make fun of you for it. Okay. Don't be a fraud, okay? Now, you don't have to go over the top. That's when people start to question whether you're being legit or not, is when you just overhype something. Like, if Joey McGuire is going to sit there and tell us that he thinks Deion Sanders is a great, respectable person, I'm probably going to question Joey McGuire a little bit. But if he said he's his good friend, that's fine.
I mean, he recruited his son, and they have a relationship.
I totally get it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I just...
Totally get it.
Sometimes I wish them I just want to beat those guys.
And you may have friends or people that you know that have done terrible things that you're like, oh, man, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But he did something terrible. Because you've had a long relationship with him, you give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. And Joey McGuire's had a relationship with Deion Sanders, and they were friendly, and so he's still allowed to be friendly.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, let's be honest. We all have that friend that we're friends with because we did dumb things together and bad things together. We're the only witnesses left in that particular event.
I think that really pertains to you and I. I don't think.
I'll bet a lot of the audience. I'm
talking about the third member of our crew.
But there's more people listening than just the three of us. Is my point that we've all got that one friend that we're friends because of the dumb things we did and the troubles that we got into. And
you make a good point.
No matter how much other people look at that relationship, they go, you know what though. When I was in jail, he was the guy that got me out. Mainly because his lawyer got me out because he was sitting next to me. But we don't bring that part of the story up.
Do you think maybe, Jeff, that some of our friends might look at us that way as that guy?
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah. If you can't figure out who the bad friend in the relationship is or the bad influence is, probably you.
You might take a look in the mirror, right? Yeah. That's probably fair. All right, I get it. You've made your case. I understand. It's just the rivalries are different, as these conferences have realigned themselves, and it's not just us; it's other conferences and schools as well that probably think about the same things. Going, man, I wish I could hate that team, but.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Texas Tech and Colorado will kick it off on Saturday afternoon at 3:00. And we'll have Optimum Game Day Live coverage all day long on Double T 97.3. And looking forward to Saturday and what that can bring. And, and just I think it's going to be a big time atmosphere. It's going to be sold out. I don't know if the weather's going to be just outstanding. I think it's going to be chilly, overcast to a degree. I hope the sun comes out a little bit. I don't know if there's a chance for rain or something like that, but I guess there's always a little bit of a chance. But I am pumped up about the ball game on Saturday afternoon. We'll have it for you. The kicks at 3, and Optimum Game Day Live coverage begins at 7 a.m. Saturday morning. And now with the clock going back an hour, should be almost sunny sky by the time we lift the curtain for the Saturday morning quarterback.
Okay.
Okay.
It's good.
So, yeah, it is good. That is good.
Saturday, high of 64, low of 35. No chance of rain in the forecast on Saturday. Friday, different story.
Okay. So is the last time, I guess it is, the last time that you faced Colorado was 2007, right? Because
you haven't played them in non-conference play. So.
No. So it was 2007. You lost that game 31-26 in front of 49,084 people at Jones Stadium. And, I wasn't just like pining for him to come back, but, it's, at least there's somebody that was a rival at one point in time. So I don't know. I think probably, I'm going to guess, of the three of us, I'm the most curious about this. But I think there's probably a lot of people out there that are the most curious, are curious about this. And I'm going to guess, Jamie, that you're not, but I'd kind of like to hear what he has to say. Here's Coach Joey McGuire on his ear, because we all saw it after the game. His ear looked like it had been attacked by something.
Pregame speeches and excitement and all that stuff. One of our strength coaches got a little too excited and threw a trash can, a big trash can, one of those big, thick. And so I thought I ducked enough, but I did not. And so it hit me in the ear. My ear never hurts. My neck and shoulder is a little sore, but I might take another trash can in the head if that means that we're going to win the game. But just excitement and pregame, guys getting fired up. I said, we got to find something else besides that. It was right before I gathered the team up, and it's kind of funny. I didn't address it then because I was like, in the moment, we just got to get to what's next. It was the same thing. He thought I was going to probably go nuts and start yelling, but, man, we had something to do. And so that's what happened, and cut the ear, and it looked worse than what it was, just the stuff that they had to put on it for it to stop bleeding.
Interesting story.
I mean,
that's crazy.
The fact that you get hit in the ear by a trash can and then you just go, and with his personality, I could hear him, just see him going, well, I can't go. We got to get these guys out on the field. That we can't get distracted by, a bleeding ear. Just what's next, right? Now if they'd have knocked him out, then what happens? Goodness gracious! Like if we would
have woke him up.
Like if we'd had a pregame meeting around here and one of us threw a trash can at you, Jamie, how would you react to that?
Well, since we're not a football team, that kind of needs that kind of emotion.
Right.
I don't really feel like that's probably. I don't know. It feels like I'm not saying it's in the norm in a football locker room, but it doesn't seem just like completely out of place.
The word you're looking for is charges would be filed.
Yeah. In a business setting, I don't think it would go over as well.
Probably not. All right.
I would guess that the trash can would fly again, right back in the direction that it came from.
Yeah. If
it happened here in the office.
Yeah, that's probably true. One thing's for sure about Joey McGuire is he has had tremendous success in the month of November. In year one, 2022, the Red Raiders beat Kansas, won at Iowa State, and won at home in overtime against Oklahoma. Last year, they beat TCU, won at Kansas, won at home against UCF, and then lost at Texas. So, this business of finishing strong, those are teams that were, viable. It's not like you're playing, cupcakes there in the month of November when you're playing a ranked team in Oklahoma, a ranked team in Kansas and playing Oklahoma. We know, even though it was here, it's still always been a tough team to beat, and winning at Iowa State, we know how difficult that is. You've been able to accomplish that now again. So, you've got one loss in the McGuire era in the month of November. That's pretty impressive. Here's Joey McGuire on his success in the month of November.
Yeah, I think the belief in what we're doing, and then I think also, like, I'll give you an example, like Harvey Dyson. He's played his best football the last 2 games. And so y'all have heard me say it before. I think CJ IU's one of the best coaches I've ever been around in my life. And his guys continually get better throughout the season. But I think it's we're a coaching staff that believes in development and pouring in reps into our guys. We also don't panic when we have guys out. It's a waste of time because they're not going to be there, so you can't waste your time on wishing and hoping that they're going to be there. So there's a next man up mentality in this program. And then, kind of going back to what Sean asked is like we really do try to make it about football, try the growth of the team, but also playing good football. And so I think there are a lot of highs and lows in the game, but I think for the season, even the lows, we really try to keep it like this. I think that's really important this week. And in this game, that's going to be a big job for me this week of keeping it like that, because there's so many things that are going on this week whenever it comes to this game before the ball's ever kicked off that we've got to stay focused and keep growing. But I think the one thing, our guys keep getting better, and there really is a belief, in what we're doing.
And I think the 2 last points there, that you're getting better as the season goes on, okay? And then that belief that when you get to November that you're going to win, and that kind of culture is something that you earn and you build over, several seasons. And I mean, sure, you'd love to win earlier in the year and win on the road earlier in the year and those kinds of things, but if you can start to accomplish that, I think sometimes winning at the end is harder than winning at the beginning.
I guess that depends on the team and depends on your schedule. Just to be accurate,
sure.
2 losses in the month of November. 1 in 2022, 1 in 2023. You got trounced by Texas, the final game of last year.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I missed the one November 5th in 2022. So
and then
I thought there was 2. You're right.
Lost to TCU.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that it's a team that, no matter what happens throughout the course of the season, you're staying together. You're not turning on each other. It feels like you're a tighter knit group at the end of the year, and because of that, you're growing together as a team and getting better and playing better football. You see so many teams get off to a good start and then something goes wrong and it just falls apart at the end. And these teams, unfortunately, have had plenty go wrong in the first month of the season, and they continue to build on, some negatives. They build in positives. I think that's huge.
7:24 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Of course, you got a big game this week. You got a road game next week, and then close out the month by hosting West Virginia. So you could double your November losses, and we might change that narrative a little bit. But the other thing, too, is you could go, hey, if you go 3-0 in November, man, you can set yourself up for some pretty nice stuff.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, guys, in honor of the stud that we have in our backfield, number 28.
Okay.
Taj Brooks. I want you to rank all-time your favorite Red Raider running backs. Get 1 through 3. Your top 3 favorite Red Raider running backs.
1 through 3.
And you can, if you want to, rate them just on like how good you are, or you can rate them just on how much you liked them.
Okay. Yeah. Now you're asking me to go into the memory bank, which sometimes that's
well, let me help you.
Sometimes that's bankrupt.
Well, let me help you. Number 1, Ricky Williams. Probably because he was the running back when I got here, and we had a class together, and seeing his injury and just being around him, knowing how good of a guy he was, that stunk out loud, and then him having some success afterwards. Granted, it was the next season, but Ricky's number 1. Number 2, DeAndre Washington. And I say this because he was the running back that got Cliff running the football. And if you can get Cliff Kingsbury to run the football, you're doing something right. And number 3 would probably be Taj.
Okay.
For me, number 1 is DeAndre Washington. I just really liked how he ran the ball, and I liked how he came back from his injury and, put up some really big numbers for you. I mean, 2015 he rushes for 1,492 yards. 2014 he went for 1,103 yards. So he's number 1 for me. Number 2, just because they weren't a great team. They were good, but those teams with Byron Hanspard, I just loved watching him run. So I'm going to put Byron number 2, and then it's hard to look past the tenacity and just how he's handled himself and put his team on his back and come back for another year. So I'm going to go with Taj Brooks as number 3.
Okay. I'm shocked. We mentioned 6 guys, and Torian Henderson is not on the list.
Well,
number 1 for me, and it's not even close. Number 1, Torian Henderson for me. Number 2, I'll take Ricky Williams. I loved Ricky. I love that he was overshadowed by the other Ricky Williams, and that his team beat their Ricky 2 out of 3 times. So I was a huge fan of that. Just liked his style of play, all the above. And I'll take Taj Brooks, number 3. There's so much of Taj's game that I really, really enjoy. The fact that he is such a good lead blocker just says so much about him. And also in pass protection, I just, he's not a me guy where it's like I'm going to play hard when I got the ball in my hands and only when I have the ball in my hands. A lot of athletes could learn from the mental mindset of Taj Brooks that, do whatever my job is, be the best at it that I can be at any point. And so he gives just as much effort in pass blocking and lead blocking as he does running the football. So I'm a huge fan of Taj Brooks in that regard. So those are my 3.
This might be ridiculous to say. He might be a better pass blocking running back than a ball carrying running back for how good he is at it. I have seen him absolutely stonewall a linebacker who's on a dead sprint. And he doesn't just shake them off like it's like fleas or something like on a dog, but it's just the head-on collision that all momentum stops at this point. It's the none shall pass. You are not getting to my quarterback.
He had one of them this weekend, and I'm trying to remember which play it was where I thought Barron was going to die. Yeah. And he got a block, and I can't remember which one it was, but it reminded me of I'll always go back when we talk about running backs making great blocks. I mean, the Harold to Robert Johnson pass against A&M for the winner there in College Station does not happen without Shannon Woods going from the right side to the left side to pick up a blitz and make a great block and protect Harold's blind side. And that was a great play, and that's the kind of stuff that you almost see from Taj. I'm not saying on the reg, but you see it. You see it every frequently, game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A couple things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Somebody says Tyrone Thurman, James Gray, Ricky Williams, honorable mention, Anthony Lynn, and Princess puts represent. Somebody else, James Gray, DeAndre Washington, Taj Brooks are my 3. That's from our friend Juan. Somebody else brings up Baron Batch.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And when you look at
definitely the best artist out of the group, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's going to be older Red Raiders that are going to say Larry Isaac or James Hadnot or Donnie Anderson is going to come up as well, depending on when you started following this football team. Certainly, I mean he was a good one, Golden Palomino, but he never rushed for over 1,000 yards though.
The best stories are about Shannon Woods, though, right? And the guy that was sent home from a bowl game on a bus.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, that was probably a tough time for him.
And Bam Morris was dominant when he was a Red Raider. I mean, one of the best running backs in the country. Just an absolute beast.
I mean, he had 298 rushes in 1993, 1,752 yards.
This all just walking around knowledge for you?
I'm looking at it right here on the book. Okay.
I was being sarcastic.
It's kind of, well...
I mean, you're just so quick with it. I mean,
well, I know, but it's just... It's not walking around knowledge for me. No, it's not. I mean, sometimes I have a lot of useless stuff upstairs, Jamie.
Yeah. Another guy with a great story was one of our assistant coaches now, and Sammy Morris. I can't remember exactly what the story is, and I just know he played his freshman year and he was really good, but there was something, I don't know if it was an academic issue or whatever, but he didn't play the next year, 2 years, but stayed here at Texas Tech, came back and played his senior year, and was terrific again his senior year. And so somebody overcoming some adversity and
sure
and being a big impact player for you and all that, I'm a huge fan of that. So he probably should be on the list too.
Somebody reminds this, Bam Morris, just for the poster, up the hill, down the hall. Bam, that's Tech football.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Come to you this morning from the First United Bank studio here in downtown Lubbock. Look forward to hearing from you today on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. All right, so Saturday, before the First Lady Raider game, Coach Skurlick was asked about what does success look like for her team this year, and for her, it's making the NCAA basketball tournament. Okay, bottom line, just make the tournament, make the field of 64. What do you think?
It's interesting that you say just. Just because I think that's a huge mountain to climb.
Well, what I was going to
it's hard for me to just say just make the NCAA tournament.
Well,
you haven't really been close.
No, you haven't. And what I was going to
so that would be a huge step forward.
Yes, and the rest of my sentence was going to be she says just make the NCAA basketball tournament, but it's different for the Texas Tech men. And so,
goodness, yes.
Yeah. So my question for you was going to be, what does success look like in your mind for the Texas Tech men as they open up play tonight against Bethune-Cookman?
I think if at the end of the day you're gonna, and by the end of the day I mean the end of the year, that you're gonna come away going, yeah, that was a good season. You're probably gonna be happy with a top 5, maybe top 6 finish in the Big 12 and advancing to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is that too high of expectations?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think this league is really tough. So if you finish 6th, you're probably still a really good basketball team. You might even be still ranked inside the top 25.
And part of my question too was going to be, okay, so let's say you finish 5th, but you don't make it, past the second round. You win the opening round, okay, and you lose for the right to go to the Sweet 16. But let's say you finish 7th or even 8th, and you get to the Sweet 16. Aren't we to the point with this basketball program on the men's side that it's how you finish in the tournament, not necessarily how you finish in the league? Or are you more of how you finish in the league regular season wise as opposed to how you finish in the NCAA tournament?
Well, we know that there's in the NCAA tournament that how it goes, right? You have a bad day and you're done, right? Yeah. You get beat by a team that
in matchups and
you're not as good as. Mm-hmm. So you have to factor that in a little bit, or maybe you just get matched up with a team that you do not match up well with. Okay, I mean those things happen to a certain degree. I would tell you the ultimate thing is to win in the tournament. That's most important. But what I take, okay, let me just say this though. I love beating teams that I don't like. Okay. aka Baylor and TCU, and we're talking men's basketball, Kansas, and schools like that I really want to beat, right? So if you're not finishing in the top 5 and you're finishing 7th or 8th, yet you make it around farther and you go from the second round to the Sweet 16, am I still going to say it's a successful season? Sure I am. At the same time, would I have had more fun along the way if you had played better in the regular season? Probably I would say that.
Yeah.
Okay? Unfortunately, you lost to Washington in the second round. I'm not going to be disappointed, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather lose to Washington in the second round than watch Baylor and TCU come into Lubbock and walk away with wins.
Okay. No, and the other thing I was going to ask.
So I think both weigh heavy to me. I don't know that one is more than the other, but I think the regular season matters.
It's kind of like what you say to us in baseball season. Enjoy the ride along the way.
Yeah, and if you're not finishing where you want to in the regular season, it's not that enjoyable.
Right? No, it's not. It's not. But I mean,
the postseason comes and goes so quick for basketball and for baseball too, and it's like you got to enjoy the regular season too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just curious about that because, I think with baseball, there's, you'd reached a certain point. When you were going to Omaha, it seemed like every year or every other year you had high expectations. It's like, hey, the regular season is important too. It's just not about a couple of weekends in April or May or even early June.
Yeah, and then you get to a point again, expectations change.
Yeah.
Right? Expectations change. And we're talking about the Lady Raiders, and if you got to the NCAA tournament, I think that would be a massive success. I don't think there would be any just when you say, "Oh, we just made the NCAA tournament." I think that would be massive.
I didn't mean to poo-poo it.
The men's basketball team gets to the NCAA tournament and loses in the first round again. That is not a massive win.
Yeah, I mean, that
is a massive disappointment.
If you're sitting there on Selection Sunday and you're a bubble team for the men, then you obviously have had a very disappointing regular year.
Yeah.
If you're first 4 in, next 4 out, playing in the first 4, those kinds of things.
Right, and I'm not trying to be a jerk when I mention this stuff, but just like we have high expectations on the Dallas Cowboys because we know what the Cowboys are, we know the money they spend, just like the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees have different expectations than the Milwaukee Brewers because we know how much they spend. If your men's basketball program is top 10 in the country in spending money in NIL, you kind of expect them to finish in that area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Right? So now that this is a part of college sports, and those things are made public, or those things are leaked, and we find these things out, it's hard not to change your expectations, right?
Sure. No, that's.
And if a player comes into town that we paid to come here and he's getting $1 million, hey, we're not like looking for you to just kind of fit in and see what you can do and maybe just dude. I mean, go be a star.
Yeah, it's kind of like your softball program right now.
Yeah.
Those expectations have changed, right?
Absolutely. And I have no doubt that the outcome is going to change too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a dominant pitcher like that, that's a game, season, postseason changer.
Yeah, should be. So, I don't know. It's just it is. I think you're exactly right. If you're going to be top 10 and paying out, then you should have some high expectations, right?
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.